Yes, so we're looking at how we're making the fin for the dragon, which is what we were just looking at in foil. So first of all, you draw a simple dragon shape fin, like an outline, making sure you've got some spikes here, 2, 3, to make it look dragonish. And leaving this little space here is quite important, because whenever you're making a shape, you always need to think about how you're going to attach it to the next bit. That piece is going to really help us. So that's our outline. To draw the dragon outline shape on the paper. Okay. So here we're going to add lines to the middle of our fin, so it defines it and makes it look more like a dragon fin. The spine's in the middle of the fin. So you draw a line from the center here and you take it through to the end of your spiky bit, so it looks dragony. And here is that little tab that we want to keep. Now, as with all the other things we were doing, our offcuts are quite important. So this piece will become your eyelid, and this piece we're going to make into the actual eye. If you want to use paper, but of course we can use many other things to make the eye. But just using the paper, this is how we do it. Okay, so you're cutting very carefully along the edge of the shape here, so we can keep this shape and use it, and along the shape here, so we can keep this shape, so we can use it for the eye later. And when you cut it, this is what it'll look like. You'll have your fin in the middle, you'll have this shape for your eyebrow, and this shape for your actual eye. And you'll see how we've drawn it to turn it into the eye. Right. Your fin will look like this when you cut it out. So we've got a whole shape, but now you see, and look how your lines are defining that shape. What we want to do also is to not have a flat fin, but we want to have our fin 3D. So making our 3D fin, we are going to create these creases and this fold here that will allow us to make it into 3D. So we make a crease in the paper, and this is what it ends up looking like. One end will kick up, and it looks like in a 3D shape. Just by putting the folds in the middle. Now we're going to look at making the eye. So using that bottom piece that we just cut out, and we'll go back and see what I'm talking about. So we've got our fin there, here. So using this piece, we're going to turn it into a piece of a paper eye. Very simple shape. Wonderful. Here we go. So we've got that piece. We're going to draw the shape of an eye, a kind of boat shape for the eye. And then we're going to cut it out. Okay, carefully. And then we're going to cut 2 slits, one on either edge of the points of the eye. Okay? And when we cut those 2 slits, we're going to fold them over, and we're going to glue them to each other, so we get a sort of 3D little boat-like shape. Yes? And that little boat-like shape we can then stick on there like that. So if you don't have a lid or from a bottle or something like that, you can just using your offcuts to make a shape from a flat shape into a 3-dimensional shape to make the eye. And it's really important that we do the eye first, because the eye, where the eye goes, dictates where everything else goes. So first we've got our eye, and we stick it on, making a dragon eyebrow from the top bit that we have cut off already. you fold the top edge. Thinking again, just like we have the tab on the fin, we're thinking about how we're going to attach it. So we need to think about how we turn this into the fold. That fold is going to help us to attach to the actual main shape of our dragon head. Now, when it's folded straight, it doesn't move or bend, it just remains straight. But by cutting into these little tabs here, each about 1/2 inch wide on our fold, this gives us something that we can attach to, but it also helps us to make a more interesting 3-dimensional shape, like this. So now our shape can bend in any direction that we want it to, so we can make our eyelid into any shape. That we can make it into a round shape, we can make it into a curvy S shape, like this. And you see that we can now use to stick onto our main cardboard shape, like this. So that eyebrow shape, I've curved it like a little sort of question mark shape. So it goes over the eye that I stuck on. And you can see that those little tabs are actually sticking one on over the other so that they can make the shape. So you glue that and stick it onto there. And that makes a really good, interesting eyebrow just from the offcut. There you go. What I've also done is I've taken the square end and I've just rolled it a little so that instead of sticking out like a flat bit of paper, it's got a nice little curvy shape. So it makes it more interesting over the eye, like this. So I now have an eyelid that curves up and back on itself. So it makes it look more interesting over the eye. Okay. And now we can look at how we place the fin that we made earlier, because it has to fin, it has to go over the eye, at the back of the eye, where the eyelid is. Okay? That's where it has to go. So you place your eye. Sorry, someone's just looking. You place your eye and you place your eyelid, and then you can place your fin at the back of the eye. So the step has to be put the eye in place, then put the eyebrow in place, and then put your fin around it where you might want to fit it. So it goes step 1, step 2, step 3, like that. And if you want to, you can have, so that's what that looks like there. When you can see the teeth, you can see the jaw, you see the eye, you see the fin, and look at the curl on the end of the paper there, yes? The curl on the end of the paper, and then your fin is in place at the back. And you're using that little tab. Remember the tab? We're using that tab so that we can tape it on to there. Okay. And if you want to, you can make more than one fin so that it goes right the way around the whole head, and to make an interesting spray of fins. And if you color these in different colors, then it'll be really interesting and stick out the sides like we were just making with the foil. So it'll stick out the sides to make an interesting shape, and tape it onto the sides here. And so this is what that's going to look like from when you actually have both of them. You see your eyelid, your eye, your folds, your curl in your eyelid, and you get your 2 fins sitting on the side to make a really interesting shape on the side of the dragon head. And last week we looked at how we could use a bit of egg box to create a nostril. So this picture should show a little bit of that there, that piece of egg box sticking in to there. Okay, do you want me to go over that?
Don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning your teaching, but I was trying to do it while you were saying it and you were sort of moving quite fast. So I had
Yeah,
to sort of sit back and listen.
that's
Then,
right.
yeah,
Because what we're doing, we're going through it here, and then we're going to put it on the website. So now that I've gone through with you, you can sit down and go through each one on the website, so you can follow it very slowly and do it as you go, and also design your own from it. So this is a guide, so you can then come up with many different ways of doing this. This is an approach, but it's fine for you to put 4 fins if you want coming out the back, or for the eye to be bigger than what I drew, or for the eyebrow to do something, or maybe you want to use that same shape of the eyebrow and put it on the top of the head. So we want you to be inspired by each idea and then transform it so that your dragon will be unique to you because of the different things that you learned in the session. So even by adding what was the finger to the dragon head, we would then be able to add horns. So this is the dragon that I was working with just now. But we can now add horns. We can stick them all down the front here, those fingers, and they would become horns on the dragon head. And so I've done the eye using paper, but the eye could have been a pot like this. But what's nice is, although I've done the pot on there like that, look at the eyelid, how lovely that is there. The shape really matters. I'm going to stop sharing now so we can look at it look at the real thing. Good stuff. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And now I've got the dragon here that we're just looking at. So you can actually see when I hold it different. See that piece, how it curls there? That little curl. And that little curl is, I've found some A4 leaflets that came through the door. And so I started to use those a little bit so I can start getting some color in as well. So I'm just going to cut those, show you how you make the curl. You cut the little tabs, see? After you fold it, you cut the tabs. And now it'll bend really nicely in any shape that you want. So to curl, I literally just roll that end, not the end with the tabs, but the end without the tabs, and just roll it, give it a roll. Like that, just give it a little roll. When you let it go, it'll stay rolled. So this is a flat shape.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we fold it. No. We just fold one end of the flat shape like that. So it looks like this. Yeah, and it's got that little piece. And this piece here will become the tab that you will use to stick. But in order for it to bend nicely and for you to be able to still stick it, you need your little pieces. You need your little flaps like this. And you stick that onto, that's what you stick onto the side of your mask. And so you can make this shape into any shape you want, as curvy as you want it to be. So it can be very, very curvy, right around the eye. So if we did go for the pot, if we went for the pot idea, put the pot there, take it on, then we will really need a nice curvy shape, wouldn't we, around it to make an interesting eyelid.
So
And
do I
that little fold and the curl makes it very interesting when you curl it. You have to cut into that little fold. See, like this, look. If we were to use the eye to be a pot, then that shape that we just made with the little fold, with the little cuts and that can go all the way around the pot. See how that can bend? I can take it all the way around here, or I can bend it round there like that. So it makes a different shape around the eye. So it's quite, it's simple, but very interesting. Something like that, yes. And you can fold one end. So that gave me that look. So it'll look like this. You get this line here. The things, as you said, the pizza leaflets that come through the door and all that sort of stuff make really good examples of that. So that's what I was using to make some more fins, because they came in colors. These came through my door. And so I can make a nice, the fin in a color, eye in a color, you know. So I think that if you save those things as they come through the door, that would be brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We look at flames later, but so you can think about, so I found that lovely little pot, and it could be a yogurt pot, it could be anything like that, which can be used to make your eye. You don't have to make the eye like I did. But if you don't have something like that, then you can use even a toilet roll. Cut it flat, we'll be able to make an eye that would work, and you can make something quite interesting. And that was my eye getting squished with the pot. But even that's quite interesting. It's got a, you see, it's got a squish. See the shadow there? Yeah. And by squishing it in, actually looks more interesting than when it wasn't squeezed in. But the one in that I showed you was just a piece of paper that was flat, and I cut it on and folded it and glued it. So I'm going to take it up here. So basically, I just made something that looked a bit like an eye, a flat shape. Yeah. And then I just folded it and I cut it at either end like this. And then I just folded it like that on the other side. And when I did that, it made the shape bend. And by making the shape bend like that, it's not a terrific shape, but it's eye shape enough for us to work with. But the key thing is to make sure that that ring that you made it to fit your head fits your head snug, so that when you join the two bits, the bigger bit over it, you join it nice and securely at the side, and it'll really only stick at these small areas here, because the middle bit will not stick in the back, will be open. Okay, and then everything else just sits on the side of the head. See? So you've got you stick that bit on, you stick these bits on, you stick your eye on underneath there. And as with ACT UP, they actually painted and decorated their shape before. They stuck, their stuff on. So you might want to think about what decoration you want to put here. Once you've making your shape, are you going to cut scales and stick onto there from other bits of paper?